Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and in this video we're going to talk more about classes. So we've kind of covered a lot about object-oriented programming on this playlist. So I do have a JavaScript object-oriented programming playlist on YouTube if this is the first video you're seeing from that playlist. But in this video we're just going to talk about some funky things you can do with classes you probably just didn't think you could do or would do. And that's just the fact that anywhere you could pass data, you can pass a class. So functions can return classes. You can have classes and arrays of classes. You could have objects with classes inside them. They're literally just another piece of data like anything else in JavaScript. So let's just do some examples. Okay, I could do something like this. Const make the class, and there might be a reason where your class needs to be tweaked depending on what the situation in your program is. So you may want to dynamically construct your class before you create a new instance of the class. Okay, so we'll see. We'll just say I'm not going to pass any parameters right now. Just kind of illustrate a point, and then all this does is return a class. So return class. Okay. Cool. And that is that. Okay, so you have a function that returns a class. So then I can do this. I can be like my object const my object equals the class, or new the class. It would have to be kind of like this. Would probably have to be this, because basically this is going to run the class function, which then returns the class, and then this would invoke the constructor. I'm not sure if that exactly would work that way. It's not usually how I would do it. I'll show you the more obvious way. Okay. Yep. The class is not constructor. I figured that. I guess it has to be in a name first. So we'll say const my class equals, first you would have to store the class, so the class would then be stored in my class, and then I can do const my obj equals new my class. I guess it does have to have some sort of name to the constructor for you to invoke it. Okay, oh, I need a console log the resulting object. Console.log my object. Save. Cool. And see, it works. Again, I didn't create anything particularly special there. Neat. So you can do that. You can return a class. The only time I've ever really done that is with web components. Because with web components, when you basically what happens is that you extend the HTML element class, but there's a whole bunch of boilerplate, and then at the end you have to kind of like do this thing where you register it with the browser. So what I did is I've created functions that do a lot of the boilerplate for me, and then I just pass in some functions that fill in the stuff that I needed to do. This way I don't have to type all that extra stuff. So that's one time where you may want to like dynamically build classes inside of a function. Web components, you can do that, but in that situation I'm not actually returning the class. Theoretically I could, if I yeah, there are different possibilities, but you can create classes dynamically through functions if you wanted to. We can also put them in an array. So let's say you have a video game and wizards level up, and there's like a level 1 wizard, level 2 wizard, level 3 wizard. I can be like const wizard, and instead wizard is an array of classes for each level. And then every time they level up, instead of having to like change all the stats, you just basically create a new wizard to replace the old wizard that has all the higher stats. So so again, the first element would be class, construct, and then we'll just say name equals Bob. Then we'll create another class as a second element, class and then this should be a string. Name equals Steve. Just put some public class fields. Save, and that'll be it. No constructor, no nothing. Anything else I want to do there? Nope. So in this case, const my object equals new wizard 0. Then invoke the constructor, and that should work. See, there you go. We have Bob. And then if I make it 2, okay. Well, I didn't save. There we go. Steve. Okay. Another way you could do, another reason why this would be useful is if you wanted to create a creature array, and then there's a bunch of different creatures in the array, and you wanted to randomize which creatures get created. You could instead create an array of all the different creatures. The only not cool part of that is that I can't really put a name to each individual one. So then I have to kind of know which index goes with what creature. So that's a thing. But you could always create the classes first and then make an array of the classes afterwards. There's different ways you can do that. So that's that. You can also put it in an object. So let's say instead of this, what we do is we'll say const wizard, and we'll say fire wizard, or fire is that class if you want to create a fire wizard. And if you want to create a wind wizard, it's this. And again, I gotta change these to curly brackets. So technically, I want to wrap this all up in another curly bracket. There we go. Save. And now, instead of an array, what would happen is I would do wizard.fire. So new wizard.fire. Save. And see, I have the fire wizard named Bob. Or I can do wind. And now I have a wind wizard named Steve. Okay, so you can package your classes in different ways. That's the only point of this video. It's just that that these things are possible. Anything else I want to say about that? Trying to think if there's any other really fun ways to package a class. I mean, those are the fun ways. So again, just so you're aware, you can have arrays and objects filled with classes, and you can create instances of those classes. And really, at the end of the day, the beauty of JavaScript is that it's so flexible, so malleable, that really anything is possible if you really want. Okay. Especially as far as creating like custom data structures, because you can even extend many of the native data structures, which aren't always the easiest thing to do, but it's doable, which is cool. But I'll leave it at that. You guys have a good one. Ciao.